Shalom, shalom. It's your brother Malcolm, giving all praises, glory, and honor unto Yahweh Bashem Nahushai, whom I worship, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS, who are the true leaders of all Israel set up on earth today. And salutations to the Akim out there and the confusion of face Akim as well, that are doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so. To you I say shalom. And to the few Akwaf that are listening and learning. I'm going to name this video False Narratives as Distractions. This is literally like the third time I've tried to do this video today, but things kept happening to distract to the point to where I had to actually cast a lot, pray, and then cast a lot to whether to do it or not. And the lot, fell on doing it. So just go ahead and knocking it out. But yeah, as far as this news, it's just amazing like how clockwork, when things heat up overseas, geopolitically, that threaten the national security, so to speak, or threaten the dollar or U.S. Superiorism or imperialism anywhere in the world, something happens in America back here at home. Something always happens to distract. It's almost like clockwork. There'll be an event that will completely take away from what's happening geopolitically. And right now you have the whole Muslim world and other European allies, UN nations included, that are rising up against America. All right. You had Putin in Cairo, all right, and to meet with the Egyptian president. And it was said during their speech that they said that it was a new level of adventurism and arrogance being displayed by America and the Israelis, man, with this whole moving of the moving of the capital to Jerusalem. All right. And so you had this blast in NYC. So they're saying, and as I watched the story for about an hour, the narrative changed like 3 times, man. All right. So, and you also have to be suspect when they have something happen and then they immediately have someone in custody. That's the whole thing just looks suspect. And once again, the T's are not crossed, the I's are not dotted, and the math is not panning out, man. It's just another one of those things. But you have the King of Jordan who spoke against this whole thing. You had Ayman Safadi or Safadi. I think he may be a prime minister in Jordan, in the Kingdom of Jordan. And then you have this guy Ahmed Abul Gheit. He's a Arab League chief. And abroad, the Muslim world and other oppose the Israelis and Trumps, and they said that they're ready to stand up for the Palestinians. So this is, fulfilling scripture, man. You got that scripture in 2nd Ezra 15, I believe, like around the 31st chapter, somewhere around there, which speaks about the dragons of Arabia coming together and the Carmenians joining unto them. So you talking about all those Arab nations, made up of Ishmael and other people from that region, from that part of the world. Plus the Iranians, okay, who are the Persians, and then you who are Elam, and then you got then you have them Hamites and Edomites that are joined unto them, because you have Hamites and Edomites that are also Muslim, okay. So you got the whole Muslim world up in arms over what has happened here, and like I said, UN nations being against that as well, man. You have the Turkish president, Tayyip Erdogan, says that Israel is a terrorist state. And then you got Benjamin Netanyahu trying to correct him and tell him that he's a terrorist. Well, they're both terrorists, man. Because he was talking about how this Erdogan is bombing the Kurds, And look, though both the Turks and the Israelis are both Amalek. They're the same race of people. One group of them has embraced Islam and the other group embraced Judaism. But they're the same people, all right? And like the scripture says, if Satan is against Satan, man, that kingdom cannot stand. As a matter of fact, let's read that. Let's get that in Matthew. This is Matthew, the 12th chapter, verse 25 and 26. And Yahushua knew their thoughts and said unto them, every kingdom divided against itself is brought to desolation, and every city or house divided against itself shall not stand. And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand? So it's just a matter of time before these kingdoms with Esau leading them fall apart, man, because these kingdoms are starting to turn on the Edomites, man. Okay, they're gonna turn on them, man, and those arrows are gonna fly from one end of the earth, as the scripture says, and those arrows are referring to ICBM missiles, man. All right, you'd have to be blind. As a matter of fact, a blind man could see that. Ray Charles could see that these military powers in the world are these ICBM nuclear powered nations are all against each other, man. All right. And they're all collectively, for the most part, many of them are coming against America and its power structure, man. Why? Because they're mad, man. Okay. The U.S. led coalition slammed Putin for declaring ISIS is out of Syria. Okay. So America and this U.S. led coalition with basically is the Israelis and America, because the French president and the German president immediately came against and other UN nations against America when they made that declaration, man, when Trump made that declaration. All right, but no other UN nation is saying that ISIL is still in Syria. Only the Americans and the Israelis. Why? Because they're looking for an excuse to stay over there. But, flip side of that coin is that's the Lord doing that, man. Because this scripture has to come to pass. And this is what's happening. This is Joel 3 and 2. And it reads, and I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat and will plead with them there for my heritage, Israel. All right, for my people and for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted the land. And that is so true, because the Israelites are scattered among the nations and the land of Israel is parted between people that don't belong there. And that's the truth. And they're wondering why it's going to, in the nations of the world, all these heathens are so angry with America. But you know what? These nations know that they're not the Israelites. And people other than just regular citizens need to start saying it. You men in high places, you're going to be forced to say it eventually. But, these presidents and prime ministers, they all know this history. They know that those people over there are not the people. And the only people saying it are the educated people in those societies, but not necessarily the people in power. Like can't remember the name of that old chick who got in trouble for a couple years back, about 5-6 years ago, when she said tell the Israelis to get the hell out of Palestine. The old Edomite chick, but she was telling the truth, man. But but a lot of these world leaders are eventually, outside of what's his name, the leader there in Iran, he's boldly and said it, but they discredit him as being crazy. All right. But you better believe that Angela Merkel and the French president and the so-called royal family in England and in Scotland and all in different parts of Europe, they know this truth, man. All right. But their house divided, but they still don't want to admit the truth, man. Okay. This is Revelation 17 and 6. Because these people of the world, nations of the world, are really tired of America and these Israelis, man. And these Israelis are getting ready to find out, man, how weak they really are. Once America abandons them, and America's gonna be is going to abandon them simply because America won't be able to support them anymore, because America's gonna have too many problems of its own. All right, and they're gonna be surrounded by nothing but brown nations that want to see them destroyed. That like that scripture says, the dragons of Arabia is coming for them, man. But this is Revelation 17 and 16. And it reads, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, and that's speaking of NATO, all right, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Why? Because those missiles are going to fly, man. Those arrows are going to fly from one end of the earth until the other, and not from the Vatican either, by the way, for those poor, unfortunate, foolish souls that are saying that madness. All right. But yeah, they said the UN is against this decision, and shockwaves and debates are going on. And I was watching all these different people go at it, man. You know, this one guy was on saying how Gaza forget that they shoot at Israeli kindergartens. Basically, those fake Jews trying to defend their point, trying to legitimize what they're doing, man. But you know, this scripture I like to bring out a lot because it's so relevant to the time that we're living in. This is and it's probably going to be coming out a whole lot, you know. And this is Deuteronomy 33 and 28, because when the Israelites go back to Jerusalem, it's going to be peace on earth and no more wars, man. But yeah, it says Israel. This is Deuteronomy 33 and 28. Israel then shall dwell in safety alone. They won't be fighting with other people in their land anymore when they go home. See? So they don't fit the prophecy. They're not the people. The fountain of Jacob shall be upon the land of corn and wine. Also his heavens shall drop down dew. 28, man, we'll read it. Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, a people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency. And thine enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places, man. So that has not happened. It's beginning to happen because basically we're trading upon your high places by exposing the truth, man. That your high places are all gotten with ill will, all right, and that your high places are all fabrications and false setups, man, illegitimate. Every place where the so-called white man is in power is illegitimate. His governments is all illegitimate because it was all done through rape, robbery, and murder, and they've ran around the world claiming that they're Christians, and all they did was murder in the name of the Bible, man, and fabricated and what's the word that I'm looking for? They ruined, all right, the righteous words of the Lord, man, contaminated it with wickedness, man, to get rulership. That's what they did. Okay? And it was funny when the guy said how Gaza forget they shoot at Israeli kindergartens, then the other guy turned around and said, you cannot defend yourself on other people's land. You were born in Russia. So these Edomites are at each other, man. And I'm going to read one more scripture. All right. Which is one that comes out probably every week too, because it's relevant to what's going on. This is Sirach 10 and 8. And it reads, you know what, I'm going to start at 7. It says, pride is hateful before God and man. All right. And they talked, and you know, they just spoke about how this adventurism into arrogance at a new level, man. Pride is hateful before God and man, and by both doth one commit iniquity, which is sin, wickedness. Because of unrighteous dealings and injuries and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. And that is the way that the so-called white man, the fake Jews, came into power, wherever they are in the world, man. And the Lord, and now their time is up, man. All right, they defaulted on their payments to their kingdom, man, and they can't pay, man. So the Lord is about to take it. So with that, all praises, glory, and honor be unto Yahweh Shem Shai, and Shalom to the elect.